Welcome into a new hour of CBS Sports HQ. Amanda Guerra here with you. We are going to give you our expert picks for your Super Wild Card weekend. Week 18 proved to be eventful, to say the least, but now it is all about the postseason, where everything, unlike what could have been the Chargers-Raiders game, is win or go home.
Super Wild Card weekend kicks off on Saturday with a captivating AFC doubleheader. The Las Vegas Raiders, fresh off an overtime thriller against the Chargers, made the playoffs for just the second time in the past 19 years and will mark the first postseason appearance for Derek Carr. And although they'll have a short week and travel to Cincy to take on the Bengals, this team has proven they can thrive under adversity with 6 walk-off wins this season, the most since the NFL merger.
It feels cool, it's awesome, but our goals, this is one of them, but there was more after that too. We're excited, and we got to play a team that already beat us, so it's going to be tough.
For the Bengals, this is their first postseason appearance since the 2015 campaign, with their last playoff win coming over 3 decades ago. But it's a new era in Cincinnati with the potent combination of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. The Bengals are capable of going toe-to-toe with anyone in the AFC.
We've got a long ways to go and a lot of potential here, and we haven't even reached it yet.
In the nightcap, AFC East rivals, the Buffalo Bills and New England Patriots will meet for the 3rd time in Orchard Park in front of what is sure to be a raucous crowd. The Patriots come to the playoffs in a bit of a slide, having dropped 3 out of their past 4, but as always, it's task at hand in Foxborough.
Started playing Coach well. It's a 1-game season. It's no big mystery.
The Bills are coming into the postseason winners of 4 straight, including a double-digit win in New England in Week 16. But they're well aware that every matchup with the Patriots has a life of its own and will need to be on their A-game to advance.
With the knowledge that we've gained over the last couple of years, obviously, like I said, I keep saying this, the main goal is to win the Super Bowl.
Who will rise to the occasion and take a step closer to reaching the Super Bowl? Super Wild Card Weekend is about to get underway.
Welcome to your Super Wild Card Weekend. We're going to get you picks here with Brady Quinn, Pete Prisco. But of course, we decided to roll over your scores from the regular season into the postseason. So taking a look, Brady, you made ground. Congratulations.
Picked up a game.
I thought I was 7-9, not 9-7. I don't know. I lost track at one point in time.
Well, that means you really were 7-9 then, because you keep track of it.
No.
Yes, you do.
Wait, really? I thought he was 9-7.
Brady keeps better track of this than he did any course in college. I can tell you that.
That might be true. That might be true. But we're still close. I mean, Pete was graceful enough to extend this into the postseason. He didn't have to. We gave the elder statesman the opportunity to go ahead and call it a win, call it a season. But you wanted to extend this, so kudos to you for letting this thing go.
I didn't extend it. Jack extended it. Our producer, Jack, extended it. I did not extend it.
Have a say. You're the elder statesman.
No, okay, I won.
A week after. Of course you would.
What's good for Pete is good for everyone.
Darn right.
Okay, so let's get into the picks for this one. Let's start with Raiders at Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 5.5. Pete, before we get to this, you love the Bengals.
Yeah,
I do.
And
can I just say this
what is
too
it? How many
this?
Super Bowls? I think we have
Hold
it on
on.
tape.
They have the easiest path, I think, probably, to get to a Super Bowl this year. So your little prediction, I can't remember what the prediction was.
I can't remember what it was.
We have it here. Here's the prediction.
Okay, let's hear this. This ought to be good.
This guy is the quarterback of the future in that division. They can talk about Baker Mayfield all you want. This will be Joe Burrow's division. And like I said, draft night. They will win 1 in the next 10 years, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him win 2 Super Bowls.
Wouldn't surprise you. So you
But I didn't say they would. And you guys, you and Chris and everybody else has said I said they would win 2.
One thing you've already been right on is he is the future quarterback in that division.
Yes.
Especially as it looks right now with Baker Mayfield in Cleveland.
And
obviously
Lamar
Ben's
Jackson.
moving on, and
And
Lamar
Lamar
Jackson.
Jackson.
There's some. Well, you're the one that said Tyler Huntley might be better than him last week.
No, I did.
So
Okay, well, the whole
we won't get into
reason
that
we're
debate.
making a fuss about this.
Right.
Explain your pick in this game.
It's the Raiders. I'm not picking them to win the game. The Bengals will move on. But when you look at the Bengals offensive line, I went back and watched the tape from the first time they played.
Yeah, when they drummed the Raiders, right?
They didn't drum them. It was a close
32-13.
It was close. They got a late touch. It was close. But they got all over Joe Burrow in that game.
They did.
What
Three
they did
sacks
is they
on him.
ran the
Special.
ball, and Joe Mixon ran the ball. And I think that's how they're going to have to beat him this time. I think they're going to have to run the ball. Lower scoring game, run the ball to keep that defense at bay because that pass rush is really good. And Riley Reif was in that game. He's no longer in the game. Isaiah Prince plays right tackle. That could be a real problem with Max Crosby.
That could be a problem. The real question becomes, can the Raiders stop that rushing attack. It's not even just Joe Mixon. In general, I don't know that they're the best against the run. That's where I think this game could get taken over by Cincinnati. That, and I think you also look at, look, they actually shut down the passing attack for the most part from Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. This passing attack's on a different level now. I feel like they've found their rhythm, they found their flow. The only thing that concerns me, and I'm laying the 5.5 here with Cincinnati, is maybe a little bit of rust. You know, maybe you take a week off, maybe there's something there, and they get off to a slow start. That's the only reason that makes me think that maybe the Raiders, who did have to play in order to get in, maybe there's a little bit of momentum on their side coming into this game, and Cincinnati starts off a little slow, and the Raiders hang around and they keep it close.
Look, every year there's a team that seems to build something, and I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but you just feel like they start feeding.
Look, you're hedging.
The short. I'm taking the Raiders in the points. I'm not saying they're winning the game because I think the Bengals are the better team, but they're going to hang around in this game because of their defense. There's two defenses that are going to cause problems for the offensive line. The right side of the Raiders' offensive line is terrible, so that side of the pass rush will be a problem for Derek Carr. But on the other side, the entire line at times has really struggled. I
think one of the biggest concerns you have if you're a Raiders fan is Derek Carr in cold weather games. It hasn't worked out well. He typically has not played well in those conditions. It's hard to guess what the weather's going to be like that far in advance, at least right now. Midwest, grew up there, lived in Ohio. It could change. I mean, literally 24 hours, it could change. It's going to be windy. It's not going to be great. It's going to be cold. We know that. That's a concern for me. But overall, again, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I like the over in this game. And I think Cincinnati takes care of business. And again, to your point, if you look at how this thing, if all the favorites win in the wild card round in the AFC,
okay,
all right, the big key is trying to avoid both KC and Buffalo. Well, if everything plays out the way you think it's going to, KC and Buffalo have to play each other in the divisional round. It'll be Cincinnati taking on the Tennessee Titans, who, I mean, at least based on the betting odds, are third as far as the favorites to win the AFC. So if that tells you anything, they will get to avoid one of the best teams, either KC or Buffalo, on their path to potentially an AFC championship and a Super Bowl. So you'd have to admit they probably have the easiest path of any team right now in the AFC to get to a Super Bowl. So maybe this prediction will come to fruition.
By the way, we have our headline off of this. Brady Quinn, Derek Carr soft in the cold conditions.
I did not say that. I said
that's
he's
what
not
you took
played
from
well.
that. That's the whole thing. That's what you took from
well.
it. I would be tired after that last game. I don't know if I'd have much momentum going into this one.
That's a question,
I'm
too.
a Raider.
It's a short
You are wearing your Raiders colors, though.
Yeah,
so.
it is a short.
Yeah.
It is a short
I could
week
do, like, spikes
against
on
the
a
rested
helmet.
team.
Yep.
A short week against the rested team. That's a tough turnaround. I get it.
Let's go to the next one here. Patriots at Bills. The Bills are favored in this by 4. The total here is 43. Pete, you picked at some point past week, 2 weeks, Bills going to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to start with Brady here.
Oh, really? I didn't
Before the season, too.
Well, before the season.
And
well, then you doubled down recently.
I doubled down. I did double down.
You know, here's the problem is this matchup, third time between these teams playing one another this year, I worry because we've already seen how this matchup played out when it was inclement weather and what ended up happening. The Bills couldn't stop the rushing attack. Now, look, I know they've won in each other's buildings, and clearly the Bills are going to have some home field advantage here, but those losses are scarring. When you lose like that, Mac Jones really didn't have to do anything in that game. They just ran the ball down your throat and you couldn't stop it. Even as good as the Bills defense played, it still wasn't enough because the Bills offense couldn't get anything going. So this one's a wild card to me. I'm going to lay the 4 points because I do think the Buffalo Bills have built momentum into the postseason here. But they're susceptible to be run on this year. They've demonstrated that. If the weather becomes one of those games, look out. This one could be tight.
As long as there's not a tornado, like the last time they played in Buffalo.
That was a tornado?
Whatever. The whole game. It was terrible. It was awful. I hate wind. It ruins football, and it ruined that game.
Oh, it's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold, really cold.
Like 11 degrees is a high.
What's the wind?
What's the wind? That's
12. I saw 12 the other day when I looked.
11 miles per hour.
It's nothing. Not a factor.
Well, first off, that stadium is gusty.
I get it, but it's not the same as it was last time.
We'll see when it's game.
That'll allow Josh Allen to throw the football around. And Mac Jones on the road, 6 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. Hasn't been the same guy. I think he struggles in this game. I think they take away the run this time around, dare him to beat him. I don't think he can. I like Buffalo. I think Buffalo is the best team right now in the AFC. I think they're going to show it through the playoffs.
It's hard to say they're better in KC, but I'm with you. I think they win this number. They cover this one. This also is one that I kind of like the under. I just think the weather conditions are going to play a factor, but the familiarity between both these two teams, you see it all the time in football. We saw it just in the national championship game in college football. Hit the under. Familiarity between a rematch from the SEC championship game. You kind of see that too in the NFL. You become so familiar, you have a hard time making adjustments to get anything going.
You know, when you always hear in the postseason, Bill Belichick will take away the one thing you want to do, you can't take away Josh Allen because he does everything off schedule. A lot of it off schedule. It's tough to take him away. You can spy him.
There's a way of being able to rush against that and
what, the mush rush? What are they, the old mush?
Well, you can call it mush rush, but you know, make it look like you're rushing more than you are. Drop some guys out. The illusion of that.
It's hard to take that away because he's so.
I think the hard thing to take away is the fact that he can hurt you with his legs.
Right.
And
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's what it is. It's not off schedule throws. It's him running. If he becomes that leading rusher at some point, that's when you know Bill Belichick's going to be frustrated because you can't play man-to-man coverage. That's what a running quarterback takes away your ability to play man-to-man coverage because you got everyone's backs turned, he sees running lanes, and next thing you know, it's a first down, drives extended. That's the issue.
That's what I meant. The whole thing. It's hard.
You need to explain it better.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to take away that guy. It's hard to.
Either way, you guys agree the Bills are going to cover the 4.
He
That's the
like
point.
it, though. He's kind of.
I could see the winning by 3. I mean, you can't see that in this case.
No.
I've been burnt by 4.
Is that your most nervous pick out of all this?
Yeah, this one was probably the one I tossed and turned at night over.
Yeah, keeping you up late at night.
Barely got any sleep last night.
Nothing to do with your children or anything.
Opposite sides when it comes to the Raiders and Bengals. Pete, you want to attack a total on that? If you care at all?
I would take the under in that one.
Okay. Coming up next, we get 49ers at Cowboys, a rivalry renewed. Players too young. They don't know about it. They don't care about it. They just want to play football. So who starts history now moving forward? Look at picks for that game and more.
It's NFL Sunday, and your Monday isn't promised. 3 wild card matchups are on the way. When it comes to the quarterbacks, there's no shortage in big game experience. Kick things off in Titletown, Tampa, where the 7-time champ will look to stage his latest defense against the franchise that once pried a Lombardi from his clutches.
We're playing a team that's very talented. They make it to this point for a reason, and we got to do everything we can do to get the win.
For the Bucs, despite widespread injury, hope still lies in a rising tide named Tom, one that continues to lift all ships in his fleet. And for the Birds, a free-wielding approach, highlighted by the enthusiasm of a first-year head coach and a quarterback with everything to prove. Game 2, a classic rivalry renewed. 7 times prior, the Cowboys and Niners have squared off in the postseason. But not since Aikman and Young, Irvin and Rice have the stakes been this high.
You got to win to keep going, and we plan on doing that.
It's a rivalry that's played the stage to moments as iconic as any and posed questions that became a rally cry.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Once again, it will all be decided at the center of the Star. In the nightcap, old guard meets new. Week 18 stars align for Big Ben the Steelers, offering reason enough to dance. But now they embark for a place where music gives way to the chorus of 76,000 strong. So will Ben be able to stave off retirement? Can Tom be Philly special? Will Jimmy or Dak do away with the doubt? It's all on the way on Super Wildcard Sunday.
Three games on your Super Wildcard Sunday. They are starting at 1 o'clock. The Eagles at Bucks. 49ers, Cowboys in the afternoon, and the late game Steelers. Could it be Big Ben's last game going up against the Chiefs? The Chiefs, a huge double-digit favorite there. All right, let's get picks for this one. Let's do Eagles and Bucks. The Bucks an 8.5-point favorite. The total here is 49. The Bucks are getting some key players back, but both of you are taking the Eagles to cover. Brady.
It's a big spread. I mean, the bottom line is it's a big spread. I think when you look at how these two teams match up, you could see Philly's front be able to get after Tom Brady. And look, a wide receiver group that it's missing Chris Godwin. Mike Evans doesn't seem 100%. Who knows where Antonio Brown is, but he's not part of this team anymore, so we know that much. And so I think you start looking at the sum of the parts. You say, yeah, I could see the Eagles hanging around this one. Jalen Hurts playing well enough, utilizing his legs in that rushing attack to be able to keep this one a low-scoring game within, what, an 8.5 line. It's been 9, I think, at some points, too, or in some books. So I think the Eagles can hang around this one a little bit.
I agree. And remember, when they played on a Thursday night earlier in the year, that was when the Eagles weren't running the football. And fans were booing. I think they had 9 carries. I think Miles Sanders had 9 carries in that game. And since then, they've gone on a running rampage. I mean, they've been outstanding running the football. And they're one of the best teams in the league. They are the best team in the league running the football. Now, Jalen Hurts is part of it. Right. And you say, well, Tampa Bay, good run defense. And they were good. But the last 3 games, they haven't been good run defense. They've given up 15 more yards per game in the last 3 than they did for the entire season. That's a concern. So I think they're going to get to the perimeter. They're going to run the football, try and control the clock. And you're right, Brady. We, just take for matter of fact, oh, Chris Godwin's gone, Antonio Brown's gone, he'll just keep going. No, eventually that's going to start showing up.
Yeah.
And I think it starts showing up here. I'm with you. I'm taking the Eagles in the points.
What you have here, too, is experience. And like the Bucs were expected to be here. Defending Super Bowl champs, it's Tom Brady. Like, we expect him to be here. We expect him to win this game. And then you've got the other side of this conversation, an Eagles team that this was definitely not part of the plan year 1 for Nick Sirianni. They've exceeded expectations. They're playing with house money. There's momentum there. I think if they go in here, play loose, with the speed they have on the outside of wide receiver, with the way that secondary's played for Tampa at times this year, they could create some big plays. I'm telling you, this game could be one where we're kind of surprised with what the score looks like at halftime, and it might be the fourth quarter where you see Tampa start to pull away, and then again, stay within that number, but still win the game.
If you block them, you can beat them.
Yeah.
Period. Against the Bucs, because the secondary hasn't played very well, and that's a good offensive line. That's a really good offensive line Philadelphia has. So I think they're going to cause some problems for the Bucs. I think this game is going to be tight. I think they win by about 4 or 5.
Regardless, next season for the Eagles, with what Nick Sirianni has done, they have 3 first-round draft picks. How are you feeling about the Eagles into next season?
It's funny, and we talked about this. Nobody wanted Nick Sirianni. They laughed about it. He had a bad press conference. Oh, laughing at him. It's a joke. How'd they hire this guy? You never know. He's done a great job. And Howie Roseman has done a really good job with that roster. It's a young roster. They've locked guys up. And that's a smart thing to do. I like where they're headed. I like this Eagles team.
I don't know that Howie Roseman's ever done a bad job necessarily with the roster. He just hasn't gotten along with the head coach who's in charge of it, and they've different opinions there. This seems to be one where, at least early on, they're having success, they're winning, and they seem to be getting along. But to your point, press conferences aren't what wins football.
No.
I know it wins the media and how they feel about that first impression. The reality is Nick Sirianni is a good coach. I've been with him before. He was a wide receivers coach. He's tremendously detailed. He's smart. He played the game. He understands it from their perspective and kind of raps with players like that. And I think the other thing is he's passionate about it. He brings a lot of energy. And I know we act like that's like something for a younger game or college game. You're seeing that trickle up in the NFL now too, though. There needs to be a little bit more something to it. He brings that. So give him all the credit in the world for the job he's done this season.
And unlike some rookie coaches, he doesn't go for it on 4th and 1 in his own end at the 18-yard line. I mean, he plays the game sort of the conventional way.
It's over. The Chargers have a whole other season.
What was the press like with the breaking the knees at the beginning of the season or kneecaps
that was
or
Dan
something
Campbell.
like that?
Dan
That's who
kneecaps.
it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember who it was.
That was okay. We like that. We like breaking kneecaps.
We can break kneecaps.
Breaking kneecaps.
All right, let's talk about 4:30 Eastern kickoff. We got 49ers and Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 3 at home. The total here is 51. Pete, we've been talking about this rivalry renewed back from the 90s and the 80s. The players don't know anything about it.
They have no earthly idea. How about them Cowboys? Yeah, how about them? They don't remember that. They don't remember any of it. They don't remember the catch. They have no idea what's the catch. Dwight Clark getting back against the Cowboys. And they were a great rivalry. But this has no bearing whatsoever on this. In fact, I think most of these guys weren't even born when that stuff was going
Probably
on.
not.
So you look at the Cowboys, they thought they felt good about their offense last week. They played a JV team. It doesn't count. They played the Eagles backups. That doesn't count. I'm still concerned about the Cowboys offense. They did look better. This 49ers team is growing each and every week. I think they're the one you have to watch out for. An NFL coach told me before the season, what he said? He said, there's some thinking now that you win the division, you sit out, you might have a bye or whatever, and you lose a little momentum, that the best way to do it might be to get hot, like the Bucs did last year, and go on through. And if you look over the course of the last decade, that's been happening more and more. So the 49ers could be that team. They could be the team because they can run the ball, they're physical, and their defensive front, as I will show later on, was outstanding last week against the Rams. I think they can dominate up front. I think they'll run the ball to the Cowboys. And remember, the Broncos went in there in 3 or 4 weeks ago and pushed them around running the football. I think the 49ers control the clock. You're not going to need the points in this game. They win it outright.
Wow. You know what? This was the other game that I really kind of tossed and turned all night.
Keeping you at night.
I did, wow.
Well, because I think everyone's like, shh. The 49ers are like that team that's getting into the playoffs. They're not getting as much love, but they are dangerous. I mean, when you think about the fact Jimmy Garoppolo's been here before, and he's been able to play well enough to get his team to a Super Bowl, winning an NFC championship. The defense has started to come around, in particular up front, like you're going to point out here in a little bit. It's the way Kyle Shanahan gets production out of all his players. And we always talk about coaching and what matters. he puts his players in positions to succeed, whether it's George Kittle or Deebo Samuel, who has been absolutely phenomenal this season for them. But that's kind of the wild card, is how does Kyle Shanahan, their head coach and play caller, now take on a Dallas Cowboys defense with a familiar face in Dan Quinn, who he knows all too well from their time together in Atlanta. That's going to be the side of the balls that I really want to see, is how they're going to take each other on and what adjustments are going to be made throughout the course of the game. It's going to come down to two things. If Dak and the Dallas Cowboys can make this a shootout, get off to a fast start, open things up through the air, because you know that secondary is vulnerable for San Francisco.
Last 3 games, 180 yards a game passing.
True, but a lot of that has to do with the pass rush. Right. I'm saying if they can protect him and he airs some things out to get off to a fast start, I think Dallas is going to cruise to a victory in this one. Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers do not want to get in a 2-minute offense for the rest of the game to try to win this thing. Now, the other side of it is, can the Dallas Cowboys stop the rushing attack of the 49ers? They've struggled this year to stop the run. This is one of those games where you better believe Kyle Shanahan, with his personnel groupings, with his formations, his shifts, his motions, he's going to get the exact look he wants. It's just about whether or not they can execute and win those matchups up front. So that's what this game's really going to hinder on.
Little, small, fast defense that can rush the passer, but you can run at them because they're not big up front. And I think that's going to be the strategy. It's always Kyle Shanahan's strategy, but it'll be so here.
Extra tight ends.
With Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan on the same field, if Kyle has a lead late, he's up 6, don't throw it. Take your knees and kick your field goal.
My producer talking to me. I did.
Don't throw it.
There you go. There you go.
By the way, I'm laying the 3 points here. This is one where if it was 3.5, I'd be on the other side.
You like the 49ers, you just not like me. You don't like them as much.
No. Honestly, like what I'd say for betting advice, if it went down to 2.5, all right, I'd love the Cowboys. If it was at 3.5, I'd be on the side of the 49ers. At 3, I'd rather just play a money line.
So he's hedged it.
No, I'm just saying play the money line. I think
we know it kept him up all night, tossing
all
and
night.
turning.
That's right. You look like it too.
Just pick a money line.
Is Dan Quinn with the Cowboys next season?
No. I think no, he will not be with the Cowboys next season.
Who's got more pressure in this game to win? It's got to be Mike McCarthy and Dallas.
Mike McCarthy,
for sure.
For sure.
Okay, night game. Steelers at Chiefs. Ben Roethlisberger and company had to wait until actually the early hours of Monday morning to find out if they were going to play in this game. And he says, you know what? It's just going to be for fun. We're not expected to win anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably 20-point underdogs, and we're going to the number one team that's, I know they're not the number one seed, but they're the number one team that's won the AFC the last 2 years. Arguably the best team in football. We don't have a chance. So let's just go in and play and have fun.
12.5-point underdog. The Steelers are there in Kansas City. Did the Chiefs cover?
What about that? Come on. Ben, woe is me, woe is me. We've seen that game play out before. Sorry, doesn't work. Nobody's paying
Probably
attention.
his last game.
Nobody's paying attention to you. They're going to go in there and they're going to play a good, hard, physical football game because that's who they are. They haven't been that way all year, but you start to see signs of it, and they have their guys back now. They're healthy. The last time they played there a couple weeks ago, they weren't healthy. They didn't play very well. They got dominated. Mike Tomlin's a darn good coach. He got this team into the postseason with everything that went wrong. It really is. And he will have this team ready to play. They will be hanging around. And look, for all the talk of the Chiefs' defense in the last 8 weeks of the season, the last 2 weren't that good.
No.
They struggled at Cincinnati, and they struggled against Denver, who has a terrible offense. I think this is an opportunity for the Steelers to hang around. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but Brady, that number is bloated.
It's really big. I'm with you on this one. I'm going to take the 12.5 points. I think Kansas City wins. I think this game could be really close. My concern is the secondary. It's secondary of Kansas City, but it's Ben Roethlisberger's ability to deliver. I mean, the 4th and 8 pass last week, it was like, I don't know if it's going to get there. And it finally got.
It hung in the air for about a week.
It was in the air forever. And so how much does he have left in the tank? Whatever it is, this is probably it for him. But I think he's got a favorable matchup with their wide receivers, with Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool and Pat Freiermuth, the way he's come up, and they can utilize him. They could take advantage of the secondary of KC. So I think they can create some big plays of their own, hang around this thing, and then put some pressure on Patrick Mahomes. You know, see if you can't force him to make a turnover or two, put some pressure on him. But to me, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game over the 46.5. But it's just too many points, especially for a playoff game.
And here's the other thing. The Steelers have been dreadful against the run all year. The Chiefs don't run it. And if they do run it, you have the advantage. You're getting them to take away the strength of their team by running the football. So I think this is going to be closer than people think. I really do. I think the Steelers are going to hang around.
Have you picked an AFC team to make it to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I picked favorites at the beginning of the year. KC and Green Bay.
Are we still sticking with that?
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
I don't know.
I'm still alive.
I mean, it's probably keeping you up, turning all
I'm
night.
still
You got
alive,
to
but
make
I don't like my
there.
NFC.
No, by the way, and Pete taught me that. Pete taught me that. Don't go out on a limb. Just pick Aaron Rodgers and then Patrick Mahomes every year.
And this is the one year I didn't.
And you're probably going to be right. You're probably
the
going to be
one
right.
year I didn't pick Aaron Rodgers. I didn't pick him. I picked
The
Bucs.
1 year, like, and you pick the Packers every single year.
Every year. I didn't pick him this year. And I didn't pick Mahomes either.
This is what happened. Our producer says, you have all the time in the world. We just make up conversations. All right, recapping their picks there. Both taking the Steelers to cover the very big number there in Kansas City, the 12.5. Brady likes the over in that one. He also likes the over and the 49ers at Cowboys game. Pete, going with the 49ers, you said to win outright.
Yep,
correct?
take them on the money line. There you
Moving
go.
on.
Cash it in.
Both like the Eagles to cover the 8.5 there in Tampa. Coming up next, we'll take a look at the first Monday night wild card game. Third meeting between these two teams this season. The Rams and Cardinals both coming off a loss. So who wins and who goes home next?
It is Pete Prisco's spinning top of the week.
And this week it is Topsa, I believe you said?
Yeah, it was going to be a couple tops, and then it became multiple tops. It was the Rams. I felt bad. Look, Matt Stafford's played.
Except who on the
Except Andrew Whitworth.
Okay.
Don't come after me.
So what are you when you're not like a
because I
spinning
love
top?
you.
Is there like another name?
Huh? With his spinning tops.
Yeah, but like,
There's like the
when
four
you like
tops.
someone.
It's the spinning tops. Whitworth played actually pretty good football, but the rest of that offensive line was awful against the Niners. And Matt Stafford's not playing good football. But this isn't helping him any. The Niners just dominated from start to finish. I mean, that's the right tackle, Havenstein. Look at that. I mean, it's just awful. And then they just, the whole game, they spent the day in the backfield. Now, this is a good player. This is Armstead, who's a really good player.
We have 3 sacks in this game.
Look at this guards and center. Look at Edwards is the left guard, Corbett's the right guard, and Allen's the center. They're just getting overmatched in the middle of that line. And this is going to be a problem for them going forward. I really do. And every play, look at this, right around them. I mean, this just can't happen. It's consistently going around them, play in and play out. And so we point to Matt Stafford not playing very well. I don't care who you are as a quarterback. It's going to be hard to play with that inside pressure coming at you.
Well, and what you're going to see teams do to the Rams is right there. You're going to try to get all one-on-ones up front. You're going to see a lot of pick stunts where they're going to wrap Fred Warner around here, and now he becomes a free rusher because the interior offensive line is having a hard time passing guys off. They're getting on different levels. They're allowing penetration. They're losing at the initial point of attack, and that's just something you can't do. Now, granted, Eric Armstead's one of the best in the game, as is Nick Bosa, and so it's always going to be a tough challenge. But that's one of the challenges I think you're going to see for the Rams moving forward is everyone's going to try to give them versions of 5-man fronts. So 4 down and maybe a Mike linebacker or Will linebacker walked up in the line of scrimmage to force those guys to have to at least initially be one-on-one, and that's a struggle. And Sean McVay's got to come up with some way of countering that. And one of the easiest ways is you got to run the football.
Run the ball.
You got to be able to run the ball. That's where teams have been able to stop them and put them in that position where they're in 3rd and long passing downs is when they stop the outside zone. If you stop the outside zone of the LA Rams, it's a wrap. It's over. You've got them already playing behind the sticks in 3rd and longs, and it's not what Sean McVay wants to do.
And you know Arizona will throw a bunch of different looks at him. These guys got to be better than what they were. It's going to be a tough game for them this week. I mean, when you look at Arizona, that's a good football team.
Do we know if Watt's back, by the way, for this one?
He's supposedly practicing on Thursday.
I mean, I'm just saying, a motivated J.J. Watt adding to that group,
And they were a different defense without J.J. Watt.
Yes.
All year long. Their run defense went really off the cliff when he wasn't there. But you look at this defense, they will come at you from all angles. And if that line's playing like that, there's going to be a lot of conversation if they don't win this game about Matt Stafford and all the talk, well, Jared Goff couldn't do it. Well, if Matt Stafford doesn't do it, we're going to have a lot of criticism of this whole team. Getting him, going all in, making all the deals, everybody. They have no draft picks. This is an all-in situation. You better win the game.
Take this for what it's worth. Last 5 games, Jared Goff compared to Matt Stafford. Both had 11 touchdown passes. Stafford had 8 interceptions to Goff's 2. Higher completion percentage, Goff. Yards per game, Stafford threw more yards per game, but higher quarterback rating, Goff. Goff played better down the stretch with less around him on a bad team than Stafford did at this point in time. So to your point, he's got to pick it up. But this is an instance where I think outside of the Cardinals just playing bad at home, I like the Cardinals here. I'm laying the 4 points. I don't feel great about that number. I never do. But this is one where I think it's a bad matchup with Kyler Murray's mobility. I think they've played long enough, too, without DeAndre Hopkins to be able to have a sense of how the passing game is going to be able to get someone open or make enough big plays. So I'll lay the 4 points with the Cardinals here.
You're taking the 4.
I'm taking the 4, excuse me. I'm on the other side, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to give the 4, we'll put that down on your thing if you want to. That's an 8-point differential. We'll let you do that.
But no, I'm saying they've been bad at home, good on the road.
They've been bad down the stretch, too. They haven't played that well either.
No.
So I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I think the two defenses are going to take over in this game. Normally we'd say Cardinals and Rams. You'd say, oh, the offenses are going to really explode. I don't think they're going to. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. And I'm with Brady. I'm taking the 4. Would it shock me to see the Cardinals win the game? Absolutely not. So I'm going to take the 4 points.
I think the under is a good play here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, look, again, should be a close game, low scoring game. I'll take the 4 points.
Yep.
Okay, so those are the games. Let's get a best bet overall, though. For Wild Card Weekend, Pete, we'll start with you.
It's the Niners. I mean, like I said, you don't need the points. You do not need them. They will win the game outright.
You the Cowboys
Boom.
In that one, right?
I did.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what I like? I like passing the football. But in the postseason, if you can run it and smash people and then take the shots, that's what I think they'll do. I like the 49ers to win the game outright. Pies on passion, baby.
Cowboys
move on.
Pies
on passion is moving on.
Hey, what about the quarterback skill for that one?
Oh,
I was going to ask you.
Okay.
Dak Prescott's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but Jimmy Garoppolo in that system, if they get the run game going, he does make it work.
I'm taking Pete's Cincinnati Bengals. That's my bet. They're going to cover the 5.5. They're not going to have any issue whatsoever. It's a young team that doesn't know what they don't know, and that can be a dangerous thing for a team that's going to the playoffs with the type of talent they have out around Joe Burrow. So I'm laying the 5.5 points. I think that's the best bet so far in this wild card round.
What scale? What
quarterback scales? He loves the quarterback scales.
If it's I already asked you this.
Jimmy Garoppolo and Dak Prescott?
Yeah, that's
How do we not have like a graphic for this? Do it one more time. The camera wasn't on you.
Dak's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but
you know what? We need to get you like an actual little scale that we can bring on set.
Put the little mini figurines on it.
I like that.
But you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo takes a lot of crap that he shouldn't take. He's better than people give him credit for. He will play well in this game.
Both of them taking the Cardinals to cover the 4 there at the Rams. Third time these two teams will meet. They've split the series so far. We'll see who's coming out on top in this one. As far as the scales with y'all's record, Brady's making ground.
Yeah. Well, a few weeks left. Here's the problem: is we can only disagree so much as there's less games being played.
I know. You guys disagree on what, 2 overall, I believe?
So he can get 2 back on me.
I could.
But if we split, then you get none back.
That's true. Yeah. And if I lose both, then I just keep falling back.
If you lose both, you're done. Yeah, you're toast.
I don't know about done. I just would hedge you the entire rest of the way.
I just make sure whatever you pick up.
You already declared yourself the winner. Why, I won
the regular season, but we've seen guys play well in the regular season and choke in the postseason. That's happened before. Not that I'm going to do it. I was so bad last week.
Do you get like a crown or something? Or like what are we going to get you?
Nothing.
No.
Nothing. I was going to do the mustache bet where I make him have to grow a mustache.
No.
Oh,
well, you lost.
We're not going to
do
that.
Have to
Neither one of you can do that very well.
I'll try.
Brady Quinn, Pete Prisco, Amanda Garrett, thanks so much for watching. More HQ after this.
Mustache.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.